like J.J. Watt is all in on his new team. He is fired up and he's looked great. He's looked so good on the field, making an impact all over the place. Let's talk about his former squad, though. Watt and the Cardinals facing the Texans in Week 7. Meanwhile, a revenge game of sorts for Jared Goff. He has to face his former team, the Los Angeles Rams. I love these sort of situations, narratives, looking at their body of work in both cities. Gentlemen, would you rather have J.J. Watt's career in Houston or Jared Goff's career in LA, where he went to and lost a Super Bowl?
Yeah, and I think this is the age-old question of, do you value the winning seasons as a team or the individual efforts as a player? We used to do this on the show, and I think it came from Dan Patrick's show. Actually, the question was, would you rather have Eli Manning's career with 2 Super Bowl rings or Dan Marino's career? That doesn't apply in this because Jared Goff has no rings. He has an NFC Championship ring. So I'm going to say, without a doubt, I still would go with J.J. Watt with the 3 Defensive Player of the Years, all the All-Pros, the face of the league, the Walter Payton Man of the Year. What he did in Houston, I would take that experience over Jared Goff's, even though Jared Goff did lead his team to a Super Bowl. And there's nothing to rub your nose at what he did in Los Angeles. I just think in this case, that doesn't work because there is no ring to be spoken of. It's not even you can have that argument. Jared Goff never won a ring. In fact, he might have had his worst game as a Ram when it mattered most in the Super Bowl. So I'm going J.J. Watt, the individual, with all his efforts. And yes, all those touchdowns as a tight end as well.
Pretty cool. Hey, listen, Jared Goff is not Dan Marino either. It's maybe the grander one would be, would you rather have J.J. Watt or Matthew Stafford or Matt Ryan? In this case, like, I have to, over Jared Goff, like, I would go J.J. Watt. I would go J.J. Redick. I'd go J.J. Abrams. Like, I would go J.J. Watt because it's not only, like, all right, the Defensive Player of the Year and all this. I mean, also, like, saved the city. He's like a superhero. I mean, it actually was. Like, he is looked at as a saint. I'm trying to think of what the case for Goff would be. He had couple really good years. But
100 million reasons?
Yeah, absolutely. Well paid, and he's really fighting Detroit. I'm trying to bend over backwards for this, Chris, but I think maybe you would have more perspective on the ring versus the championship thing.
Well, I'm just going to go over some of my teammates that I've had, in the past. Played alongside Johnny Randall, played alongside Chris Doman. I'm very, very good friends with Bruce Smith, and played alongside Reggie White. From a quarterback standpoint, and that's the class that I would have J.J. Watt in. From a quarterback standpoint, made 8 Pro Bowls, I think with 7 different quarterbacks. Before Rich Gannon got to Oakland, Wade Wilson,
Eric Craig,
Sean Salisbury, Spurgeon Wynn, lowest quarterback rating in the history of NFL. Jared Goff might end up in that class. We know who J.J. Watt is. Who is Jared Goff? He might be a nice guy. There's a bunch of nice guys in the league. But J.J. Watt has a distinguished career that you can only compare a few players in football to him. Jared Goff, we don't even know what his career is going to be, all right? Can he resurrect Detroit? I don't think so. So I don't believe this is going to be his last team. J.J. Watt by a landslide.
I mean, you're looking at that jacket over there. Don't you want one of those? That's J.J. Watt's going to have one of those, and they're going to use all the material to make it.
It is glorious. Did it ever eat at you? I mean it. You don't have a Super Bowl. When you get together with all the Hall of Famers, a lot of guys have jackets and rings. Does it bother you?
This is the discussion. Football is the ultimate team sport. I did everything that I could as far as eating, sleeping, killing my body, being a good teammate. I did everything that I could. You cannot control the game from a wide receiver standpoint. I would much rather say yes. Out of 16 seasons, 13 times, I played 16 games. 6 straight years in training camp, I did not miss a practice. So I was doing my part. It's the ultimate teammate. Yes, would I rather win a Super Bowl? Yeah, but I don't have to make the distinction, well, if I don't have a Super Bowl, the Hall of Fame is about a long career. And it's available for everyone who signs up. Okay? The Super Bowl is not a real thing. I went against the 49ers in their heyday. And then here comes the Dallas Cowboys.
Sure.
Oh, and then here comes Green Bay. So being in the NFC, it was not favorable for me. But yes, I would love to have a Super Bowl ring. Would I trade a Super Bowl ring in for the gold jacket? Stop smoking, man. Stop playing. It's legal here, but stop.
And I know that you've
Stop smoking, man.
passionate about it, and it's why we love
Tell
you.
him, Chris.